Hello everybody, this is Siobhan Brown and I am going to be your facilitator today as we walk through how to become a change management practitioner, otherwise known as a CMP. On the line right now we've got the moderator, who is Lauren Connor, and she's going to be taking all of your questions and moderating them behind the scenes. So if you have any questions for me throughout the session, what I would like for you to do is to click on the button that says questions and then just sort of type in your response in there. You'll see a broad box and you can just type anything in there, and Lauren will let me know that there's a question being asked in the queue, and then I'll answer those questions for you. So let's get started, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what Change Management Practitioner Certification Program offers. What does the certification course cover? We'll talk about what the preparation is involved in getting the certification. What does CMP certification actually mean? And then we're going to open up the floor for any questions that you may have. So we'll take a look first at the overview of the CMP certification program. So this program is a fantastically interesting program, and I'm so glad to have the opportunity to tell you about this program because TidalShift has been accredited through the APM Group International, and the Change Management Certification Program is really comprised of 2 certification programs in one 5-day course. So the first program is the Change Management Foundation, and that really covers 3 days, and then it's followed by an additional 2 more days of the Change Management Practitioner, for a total of 5 days for the Change Management Certification Program. By the end of the 5 days, you're going to walk away with practical knowledge on change management techniques and strategies that you can apply to change initiatives in your own work environment. And since the program is 2 certifications, you basically have to write 2 exams. So the first exam is a knowledge-based exam at the end of day 3, and it's a scenario-based exam is the one on day 5. So the first one is more around very theoretical, and it's a lot of memorization, but the second exam is more application in terms of how would you use this information in your environment. And once you've successfully completed both exams and the 5 days, you will then get your Change Management Practitioner designation. So you have an option of either attending the first 3 days only to attain your Change Management Foundation certification, or you can complete the full 5 days, in which case you'll receive your Change Management Practitioner certification. The Foundation certification, which is the first 3 days, is really targeted at enhancing an individual's change management and their team development, as well as the organizational development and leading change in that spectrum. The last 2 days, which is part of the Practitioner Certification Program, is really for those who have more experience regarding change and change initiatives. And you're welcome to attend all 5 days, or if you want just the first 3 days. It really depends on what it is that you're looking for and what you want to be able to get out of your certification. So let's talk a little bit more about what are the details that are involved in the certification program. So the Change Management Practitioner Certification Program is really a fantastic program, and you'll find it extremely useful when you go back to work. It shows you how to influence, motivate, and encourage others to move towards the new stuff that you're trying to teach them, which is the new initiative, and to change those old behaviors or old practices. So whether or not you're introducing a new system, a new procedure, or a new policy, really what you're doing is you're introducing a whole new culture, a whole new way of doing things differently. And so this is what we start looking at, providing you with the tools so that you can execute this change almost seamlessly and successfully. The benefits of the Change Management Practitioner Program is that it's going to allow you to have practical change management knowledge, and you're going to be able to really delve deeper into how to plan for and lead change. It also gives you a well-equipped toolbox on how to handle reactions to change management, and gives you additional strategies that you can select and apply the most appropriate change management techniques in order to ensure sustainability within your organization. And as a change management practitioner, not only are you going to walk away with your certification, it's also globally recognized. So you're going to have the confidence to lead change management initiatives in your own specific environment. Do you have a question, Lauren? Okay, so we're going to go over 2 questions here.
It's recognized by the ACMP.
They are working with ACMP right now. It is globally recognized, and a lot of the information is consistent with CMI, which is the Change Management Institute, and ACMP is also working with CMI. So not to worry, all the information is within the regulatory standards, and it will be compliant. Okay, what we'll do is we'll hold off most of the questions until the end of the session. So we'll keep the questions there, and then we'll work through them. A lot of people tend to ask what's the difference between APMG versus ProSci, because people tend to take a lot of the ProSci courses and then are trying to figure out, is this really the right route for me to go? So both the ProSci and APMG are focused on leading change and managing individual reactions to change. ProSci really examines what change management is, and then APMG kind of takes it a little bit further. They delve deeper into how to implement change management strategies, and also the materials are in alignment, as I said before, with the Change Management Institute. APMG was the first to create the Change Management Book of Knowledge and work with the Change Management Institute in creating that. So where you have ACMP, they're also working in collaboration. So all the information that you're learning throughout this program are going to be consistent with APMG standards, CMI, and ACMP. So the next section of this is, well, what does the Change Management Practitioner course cover? And that's pretty much why most of you are here, because you want to know what is it that you're going to be learning if you take this course. So the first couple of days, the first day or so, you're going to be really looking at the change management context. And then it begins by taking a look at 4 key areas: individual change, team change, organizational change, and then leading through change. So we start first by examining the psychology behind individual change. And while some individuals are really excited when it comes to new opportunities that come with change, others experience feelings of anxiety and denial, frustration, resistance, and loss when it comes to change. So these reactions to change are all normal and to be expected. The key really here is to address the individual's reactions to change and resistance, and being able to answer for the individual, what's in it for me, how is this change going to affect me, what's going to change for me, and what's going to stay the same for me. So you really need to be able to persuade and influence people at that individual level and answer those questions for them. Then the next section, when we move on to day 2, is really focused on how do individuals behave when you're in a team environment. And the reality is people change their behavior when they're amongst other people. Then when you're part of a team, there's different roles that you play. So what we do is we leverage different team roles, and we look at the Tuckman model, the whole forming, storming, norming, forming, storming, norming, and performing, and then the last stage is adjourning. And then we also take a look at different types and teams that Belbin introduces, and we gain some additional insight on how individuals actually affect each other and team dynamics during times of change. So people behave differently when they're in a team versus when they are individual. So the individual reactions to team are actually going to vary once you're amongst a team. And knowing this information and being able to react appropriately to this change is really going to affect the decisions that you make when you're selecting which actions and which activities to take when you're planning for change for a team versus when you're dealing with the individuals. So once you understand the people side of change and how individuals and teams actually respond to change, then we explore change from a more broader perspective, which brings us to the end of day 2, and we start looking at organizational change. So we take a look at organizational metaphors as it relates to change, and we really look at selecting the appropriate strategies when you're dealing with change based on values, beliefs, and the culture of the organization. So we take a look from a standpoint of, say you're dealing with an organization that's more hierarchical in nature, they're going to want to hear from the key stakeholders within the organization versus an organization, and that would be the machine metaphor. If you were using a metaphor like organisms, then you want to have where people respect you for the knowledge that you have and your position within the organization as well. Then you might want to choose somebody in the organization such as a change specialist, because they would be more well respected and people will want to receive that message from them. So depending on the metaphor that best suits your organization, we're going to help you choose what strategies will be best applicable for the change that you're trying to introduce. And so this certification is really going to help you understand the environments in which you are working in and help you develop a strategy that's going to best work for you being able to lead the change in your organization. So now we look at the context for leading change. And really this diagram shows you how you've got the individual change, team change, and organizational change, and then takes a look at it from that leadership perspective. And the reality is you can't force anybody to change. Really what you're looking at is being able to influence people, motivate them, and persuade people to want to change. I've been asked to go back to slide 9. Is there a question there, Lauren? Okay, so we're on day 3 where we're still talking about the leading through change. So this is where we're going to involve more communicating from a very clear and shared perspective. You need to share what the vision of the change is going to be, and you also want to help install confidence within the organization, within the people that you're leading, and really empower them to want to participate in that change so that you could achieve that desired result. At the end of day 3, we have the foundation exam. It's a 1-hour exam, and there's 60 questions, and at this point you'll pass. You'll know right on the spot whether, or within an hour or so, whether or not you've passed the self-mark exam, and then you're going to know whether or not you have completed your foundation requirements, which is really what's necessary for you to be able to go to the next 2 days, which is the practitioner exam. So here now, if you can see, you start off at the end of day 3. We're assuming that you've successfully completed your foundation exam, and now you're ready for day 4. So day 4 really picks up where day 3 left off, and we're really looking again from that individual level, the team level, the organizational level, and leading through change. So from the individual level, we're looking at coaching people through change and really listening to them, providing feedback. Then we explore the team dynamics and how do you lead the teams through change through action learning. Then we take a look at organizational readiness and the strategic look at change, and from that complex perspective, and making sure that you're able to lead the organizational through change. And then we end off the day by looking at leadership phase by phase and what's involved in that, as well as how do you increase stakeholder engagement. So by the end of day 4, you've pretty much taken a look at all of the different aspects of change, again from that individual, team, organizational, and then leadership level. And then we set you up to be able to write your practitioner exam, which takes place on the beginning of day 5, and that's a 3-hour exam. Really, at the end of the course, you're going to be able to apply change to the major types of changes, whether that is a restructure, a merger and acquisition, an IT-based change, or a culture change. You're going to be able to have the tools and the techniques necessary for you to be able to implement that change very successfully. So what's involved in the preparation of this change management practitioner certification program? Well, you're going to get the book, Managing Sense of Change Management, which is a complete guide to the models, tools, and techniques of organizational change. And this is by Esther and Cameron and Mike Green. And it's a book that's about 500, just under 500 pages. So we suggest that you take about 40 hours to read through the book. If you would consider this course kind of similar to, say, you were doing your PMP examination prep, you would have to read through a study guide and read through the body of the PMI change management practitioner book, and you'd have to read through all of that as well. And we also give you a change management practitioner handbook, which is about less than 40 pages, and that's going to give you additional information that you're going to need for your practitioner exam. So both of these books you're going to have to read through. As I said, it'll take about 40 hours to read it. That's why we usually give it to you about a month in advance, because we do know that you have work to do as well. But by the end of the program, and you pass, you're going to be feeling more successful and more confident with your abilities to be able to lead change within your organization. At the end, what does all of this really mean, and having a certification? It means that you can now add the 3 letters CMP after your name, which is a change management practitioner. It's globally recognized certification. Your change management knowledge will be significantly enhanced, because now you're not only knowing all of the theory behind change management, you also have the application side of how you can use the change management techniques in your specific environments. It's going to help you lead change initiatives as your organization grows, and it'll also help you plan effective change management communications. And we stress the importance of really looking at the individuals and teams and what do they need to hear from you as a change agent. Lastly, you'll be able to respond effectively to individual and team reactions to change and be able to help them work through that whole change curve. APMG is an internationally recognized organization where their headquarters is actually in the UK, but they have global offices all around the world. They are aligned with the Change Management Institute, as I've stated before. And at the end of the day, you're really going to benefit from having a very consistent, high-quality program that provides you with very custom and tailored solutions to meet your specific change management needs. So now I'm going to open up the floor to any questions that you may have with regards to change, so that by the end you can feel confident and comfortable with being able to start your process with getting your change management practitioner designation. So let's take a look at what questions you have for me. Lauren, do we have any questions? All right, so we've got one here. Do you want to know if it's specifically recognized by what change management organized? Is ProSci certification recognized in the same way? So while ProSci is recognized, pretty much most people know who ProSci is, and they're recognized in the industry. The change management practitioner is also recognized in the industry, but it's globally recognized because they have offices all around the world. You can see when it says change management practitioner, people will know that you've gone through some sort of certification. They'll know that you've gone through APMG, which is also industry recognized, that you've gone through very rigorous standards, and you've also completed examinations. So it's not just you attended a one-day course and you got your certification as a change management practitioner. You've actually gone through quite substantial amount of work. Same way as you would go through to get your PMP designation, and you've had to go through about 4,500 hours of working as a project manager. Although the requirements are not as stringent, and from the change management side, you do need to demonstrate your knowledge of being able to apply the change management theories, the tools, the techniques to change management scenarios, so that you have the confidence and people know that when you finish your program that you're fully capable and competent to be able to lead change management initiatives in your organization. The Change Management Institute recognizes the program, and ACMP is working with them too, so that they'll recognize it, and it is globally recognized right now. So how soon would this program be delivered? We will be delivering this program in January of next year, so you can go on the TidalShift website and you can register for the program. It will be delivered in the second week of January for the whole week. How much experience would you need or recommend that someone has prior to taking the certification? If you've been leading programs, any change programs in the last year to 1 to 3 years, I would say that this program is fantastic for you, because you're going to really walk away with a lot of strong knowledge with regards to change management. You don't have to be an expert by any means, like 5 to 10 plus years of change management. While that may be great, really and truly, if you have anywhere between 1 year to 3 years of experience of leading initiatives, this program is good for you. Okay, so Lauren will provide the URL for you to go on to the website for you to be able to log in and register for the program in the second week of January. So once you've completed the program, you'll find out usually within a week or so whether or not you've passed the final exam, and then you'll get, it'll be registered with the APMG group, and then you can choose whether or not you want your grades to be displayed for people to see, or whether or not they can just go in and they'll know whether or not you've passed or you haven't passed. So you have your designation or you don't, but nobody can see your grades unless you choose or you opt for that to be an option for people to be able to view that from their website. 40, okay, so for those, I see the question you've indicated whether or not the pre-reading requires 40 days or 40 hours. 40 days is a lot of days. So we're going to say it's 40 hours, which is equivalent to about a work week. And so you want to set aside a couple hours every day. It makes it easier. I would not suggest reading the entire book from front to back in one setting. It's just far too much reading and far too much theory. So it's much easier if you set aside about an hour or two a day to read chapters of the book. And then by the end of the month or so, you should be finished, and you'd really be able to digest the materials much better over a month or so versus taking a whole weekend and trying to read through the book. It's almost impossible to do that. Okay, so do we have any more questions with regards to the certification program? So what is the technical cost structure training certification? I'm not sure I'm understanding how this question is worded here.
What is the cost structure?
So in terms of the cost, it would be I think it's $28.75 for the full week. And in terms of the training structure, it is set out over through 5 days. So the first 3 days is your foundation program, and then you will be in class for the full 3 days, and then at the end of day 3, you'll be writing your foundation exam. Day 4 comprises of the application of the program in terms of the change management strategies and tools, and then at the beginning of day 5, you'll be writing your practitioner exam, which is about 3 hours in length. I'm hoping that answers your question. So you want to see slide 9 again? All right, we'll go back to slide 9. There we go. Well, that's technically slide 9, but I have a feeling this is the slide that you want to see. So this is really the course outline. Again, you start off on day 1. We give you the context of what you're going to be learning with regards to change management. We delve deep into individual change reactions and how people respond when they deal with change, and we talk a lot about different theories that are involved. Then we go into day 2 talking about team change and team dynamics and look through the different roles that people play within the team. In the afternoon, we take a look at organizational change and what's involved in leading change in your organization and ensuring that they're ready. And then on day 3, we look at it from the leader's perspective and what's involved from leading change and the different types of styles that leaders take on when they're leading change initiatives. And then in the afternoon, we'll give you a couple hours to study so that you can ask any questions that you want prior to going into writing your exam. And then you write the exam in the afternoon. It takes about 1 hour, and I'll mark it on the spot so you can get your results, and you'll know right away whether or not you are ready to go to the next day. I know that usually the next question will be asked is, well, what happens if we don't pass? The exam is not meant to be tricky, and in the event that you are unable to pass, you can rewrite the exam within the hour if you want to, or you can write it the following morning. You can write it as many times as you need to in order to pass. Is this the slide? You wanted to see the difference between APMG versus ProSci? So again, with APMG and ProSci, both of them look at leading change and from the individual perspective and what change management really is and what's involved, whereas APMG really takes it a step further and starts to look at it from that team organizational level and how do you lead the change initiatives. And then even further to that, we really look at strategies and techniques, and not only are we looking at the theories, but how do you apply those theories to the actual work environment. So what we'll do is we'll wrap up because I think that's pretty much the end of the questions. If for whatever reason you do have more questions that come to mind, feel free to contact TidalShift. I'll leave my contact information at the end of the presentation here so that you can access it. And actually, Lauren, you can put in the link so they can email me directly if they have any questions at siobhan.brown@tidalshift.ca. And that way, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me directly. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. And we'll be happy to guide you in terms of figuring out what is the right stream for you if you have any questions about that and any more information that you have required about the Change Management Practitioner program. And TidalShift offers a lot of other programs to also complement the change management program. So if you're interested in anything around leadership development or change management, feel free to check out our website as well. And you'll find a lot of other programs that can complement your career path as you go into really becoming a change management practitioner and confidently leading change in your workplaces. So thank you all very much for your time and your attendance, and hopefully we'll be in touch soon.